Rapid revision to the chapter Outcomes of Democracy, and I am very glad to share you that this is the last chapter of your civics book in your class 10 journey. So my dear students, welcome to Deeksha Vedantu. This is Tanvi Ma'am, your SST faculty, and we are back with the rapid revision of this chapter Outcomes of Democracy. This chapter itself is a very small chapter, but there are some particular important topics from this chapter which we are going to rapidly revise for today. Here, as per my analysis, I have added some keywords as well as I'll tell you meanwhile some repetitively asked previous year questions also. So my dear students, let us begin the chapter. Outcomes of Democracy is a different heading this time. Like if we see in class 9th, we studied what is democracy, what are the features of democracy, how was it positive, how was it negative, etc. Even since childhood, we are just studying the positive sides of democracy. And now the makers of the book are thinking that you have grown up. I don't know if it is true or not, but they are thinking that you have grown up and you have the ability to analyze what is the outcome of democracy. Let us talk about that. So basically, democracy is a form of government in which government is chosen by the people, right? But we know that after that also, the democracy is a system which faces corruption, unemployment, economic issue, inequality and many more such things. Still then, there are more than 100 countries in the world that followed democracy and not the other forms of government like dictatorship, monarchy, etc. There might be some reason. This is what we are going to study today, because this legitimacy, responsibility and accountability of what? Of democracy is always what? Of more weight than these negatives of democracy. Okay? The first question that comes in mind from this chapter is how do we assess democracy? How we should analyze or ask the question that democracy is better or not. So basically, see, democracy can be assessed through following points. Point number one, that is it promoting equality among the citizens or not? Because if we see, there are three major forms of government, that is democracy. Then there is dictatorship, okay? Then there is dictatorship and then there can be monarchy. We know that in monarchy, the ruler is not chosen by the people. In dictatorship, it is by force, okay? Rather, only democracy is a form of government which is chosen by the people. And now, if it is chosen by the people, it promotes equality among the citizens. Point number one. Then it enhances dignity of the individuals. It improves the quality of decision making, because we know that in the decision making process, all the citizens are active or inactive participants there. Okay, it provides a method to resolve conflict. There might be chances when there is civil war in the country, there are conflicts in the country that once used to be in Belgium. We have studied in chapter 1 power sharing, how they have resolved their conflict by sharing of power. So it is possible because that power sharing was a part of democracy, okay, and it allows the room to correct mistake. Like for an example, the law is being passed by the government and people don't like it, they can protest, they can revolt against it, and such rights are only and only provided in the form of government, that is democracy. But now the question comes in mind that, ma'am, are all these steps or all these points followed every time in a democratic government? No, not at all. This is what we will be studying in this chapter. So before studying the negative points, let us talk about that is democracy accountable, responsive and legitimate. My dear students, from this topic a sure 5 marker is always asked. Like I was analyzing the last year question paper, okay, that came in the year 2025, okay. I was analyzing that last academic year paper and have seen that for sure 1 5 marker is taken from this chapter, and this one is among that. Okay, so question will come is what makes the government accountable, responsive and legitimate. So basically in a democracy, government is chosen by the people. Government is elected by the people, and government has a major role in decision making. If we talk more accurately, we know MLAs and MP are chosen by the people. Okay, they are the part of government and they take the decisions on the behalf of what? People. They are actually the representatives of the people. Okay, and when they are the representatives of the people, what are they doing? They are deliberating, they are negotiating over a topic, right? They discuss all the topics and then the decision is taken. This is what makes the government what? Transparent. Let us talk about the negative thing. Like if we say there is dictatorship form of government, okay? The one person needs to take decision for the country and the decision will be very quick decision, because he doesn't needs to negotiate with others, he doesn't need to talk with others. But how far we can say that the decision is good for the individuals, that decision is taken in the favor of the people? Not at all, we cannot say that. But in a democracy, when the representatives of the people are taking the decision, there are chances that they will work for the welfare of the people, because they want next time to be elected again, na? That is the reason. So my dear students, I agree that in democracy also there are chances of wrong decisions, there are chances of delayed decisions, but in comparison to dictatorship, what is better, what is more accountable is democracy. Okay, and the main thing is that whenever they are making decision, it follow all the norms and procedure that are written in our constitution, and that is the reason it makes here an important keyword comes, that is that the democratic form of government is what, dear students? It is transparent form of government. Got the point? Just give me a thumbs up in the comment section. Moving towards responsive now. What do you mean by responsive? So basically, whenever in our home we need something, like we need to share our emotions, the first thing that comes in our mind is our mother, because what happens, the mother is always responsive to you, she is every time ready, right, for your needs. Similarly, the government here is responding to all the needs and demands of the citizens. For example, if we talk about the difference between accountable and responsible, now one day what happened, your family was trying to go for a trip, but they were only senior members going, and you were asked to stay home, okay, and you are one of the elder sibling. Now your family gave the responsibility that you need to take care of all other siblings and take care of home. Now you are responsible, like any of your sibling is not being so mischievous that time or not doing any mistake. Now that is what means accountability. Now you are accountable to your parents. Getting my point? And in response, when you are taking care of the needs and the demands of your siblings, you are responsible to the siblings, you are responsive to the siblings. Similarly, when government is responding to all the needs and the demands of the citizens, it becomes a responsive form of government. And how a government becomes responsive? Because we have and what? Open, free and fair elections. We studied in class 9, right? There are times when open public debate is happening and we can just listen to all the issues going in the country, right? There are rights like right to information. I agree that these rights are not 100% fulfilled, but some of the percent is fulfilled. Right of information, will you get in the dictatorship form of government? Not at all. Okay, so this is how the government becomes responsive. And the third one, that is legitimate government. For example, my laptop, I have a legitimate right on it. My home, I have a legitimate right. My parents. So when the thing belongs to you, when government is legitimate, that the government belongs to you because you have elected them, you have chosen them. So it is legitimate form of government. It can be slow, but it can be like teda hai par mera hai. So I'm not using kurkure here. So it is something like that, teda hai par mera hai. It may be slow, it may be less effective, it may be having some negative thing, but still better than the dictatorship form of government. And this is what makes our government what, bacha? It's a legitimate form of government. Okay. However, democracy is something, right, which in our daily life is having corruption, having problem of unemployment and many such things. But if we want to evaluate it more further, we will see some factors like social factors, political factors, and more important is about economic factors. Okay? If you are in a democratic form of government, you consider it as ideal form of government, but do you know that, right, that ideal democracy exists only in books, only in theory, but it does not exist in practice, and this particular topic will make that clear to us, right? Analyze this table. It is given the rates of economic growth for different countries from the year 1950 to 2000, from the year 1950 to 2000, and the types of government are as follows: all the democratic countries, got it, all the dictator countries, dictatorial regimes, poor country under dictatorship, and poor country under democracy. Now see the percentage of economic growth over there. Democratic regime have an annual growth rate of 3.95%. Sorry, my mistake, not annual, the growth rate for this 50 years. 95%. Dictatorship regime has more growth, it's 4.42%. Okay, poor countries under dictatorship 4.34%. Poor countries under democracy, it is 4.28%. Isn't it strange that here dictatorship countries are having more economic growth? Now one question can come in our mind, ma'am, then why don't we replace the democracy form of government with the dictatorship form of government? Okay, now it is very, very fair enough to just assume that we are in a democratic government and it will give economic growth and development. Fair enough. Okay, but we should be also aware about that the economic development depends on various factors. It depends on country's population, in which India is just raising the bars. Okay, it depends upon country's population, country's size. We are a big country. The global situation, cooperation from the neighbor countries, in which we are also very well gifted. Okay, then economic priorities adapted by the country, etc. For an example, there is a democratic country, that is USA. Okay, there is a democratic country US, there is a democratic country India. Then we can take the example of China, and if we see the development in all the four countries, there will be different growth rate. Then democracy, how can explain you that ensure you will get the economic development? Not at all. For example, if we talk about China and India, countries that got independent some around same year, similar years, right, just a difference of 1 year. But if we calculate the economic development of both the countries, is it same? No. Which clearly defines is that the economic development depends on the following factors. However, just assuming that economic development will result in a democratic setup is not wrong. Okay, fine. It is very much clear from this topic over here. Then if we talk about India, moving to India, I think that you might be enjoying the short notes over here, the keywords I used here, and you can get for all the chapters similarly. You just need to do one thing. You need to join this WhatsApp channel, Deeksha Vedantu class 10. Here you will get all the lecture PDF notes, DPPs, all the updates related to CBSE, lectures detail regarding our new lecture coming on maths, on science or SST, rapid revision, 5-minute 5 markers, and many more. Just do this thing here. Okay, now coming about reduction of inequality and development. Again, we expect that it is democracy. It will lead to the reduction in inequalities that exist in the society, right? Particularly which inequality? Economic inequality. We know that in a nation there are people which are rich, there are people which are middle class or poor, etc. Right? But as in India, we are living in a democratic nation. Do you think that economic equality exists somewhere? No. It cannot be possible because, look, development can be done. I agree that, but it cannot make sure that it will be the reduction of what? It will be the reduction of economic inequality among the citizens. However, Okay, however, what democracy ensure us is political equality but not economic equality. Like if we analyze our constitution book and if we see the fundamental rights, okay, none of the fundamental rights belong to economic equality, rather it is added in DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy. Why? Because the constitution makers knew that bringing economic equality in a country that is democratic like India is very, very difficult. So yes, economic inequalities exist in a nation. There might be times, see this picture of pizza, that the major portion of the pizza is like holded by some of the people. For example, in India, there are few individuals that are holding the major wealth of India, and the remaining wealth is distributed among more of the population, most of the population over here. Okay, then we will ask the question, if you can't provide the economic equality, then we expect from you to bring at least what? Social equality. Okay, because India being a social diverse nation, there was need of social development, there was need of social equality in that perspective. Yes, question comes here that is democracy successful in accommodation of social diversity, to bring all the social diverse people together like it was done in Belgium. There were people who speak the language Dutch and French. There was tussle among them and it was solved when the constitution was amended. The similar such thing was seen in the country Sri Lanka. They didn't solve it, it led to civil war. So in both the democratic nation, both were democracies, you can see the difference, how they socially accommodated people and how they didn't, and what was its impact on their democracy. Talking about it, yes, it is basic expectation that democracy could produce a harmonious social life. Okay, but do you think that in India it is fully possible? We have accommodated everyone. Like we know that Indian society was divided into Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, then untouchables, then many such ill practices, and after which one of the major thing, that is caste system, which still exists in India. Then how we can say that democracy brought this harmonious life? But we can not give that 100% surety. But one thing makes democracy social, what we can say harmonious, are these points. Now see this point. First, it is necessary to understand that democracy is not simply the rule by the majority. Yes, this is followed in India. Right? If a democratic nation wants to bring what? Harmony in their social life, they should keep in mind that the government is not always formed by majority rule. Okay? Second point over here, it is also necessary that the rule of majority does not becomes the rule of majority community in terms of religion, race or linguistic groups. Now what is this line, ma'am? Are you repeating it? No, bachas. Listen, the first point they said that in a country the government not should always be formed by a majority community. Okay, but if it is conditioned like India that 70% of the population is Hindu population, right? The government will definitely have majority Hindu people, okay, because of the proportion of population. But rather than this also, there should not be rule in terms of religion. No rule in terms of race or linguistic group. Rather, the equality should still continue after having this majority in the government. Get my point or not? Okay, last topic, again a very important 5-marker question: how democracy ensures dignity and freedom of individuals or citizens. See here, like if you remember the case of Rosa Parks that you studied in class 7th, okay, she was a woman. And basically it's again the apartheid system, okay, apartheid system, that is racism, racist ideology that was promoted in America at that time, right? USA, this is case of USA. The woman was in the bus and she was not allowed to sit in the seat that used to be of white men, and that was the reason she fight there, and it led to civil war also, and the result was that apartheid system was boycotted over there. clear. So basically, remembering this women, the condition is so changed now, because in democracy stands much superior to any other form of government in promoting dignity and freedom of the individual. What do they mean? They mean that if we compare, what if we don't have democracy? You're questioning democracy, that will it give dignity to and freedom to individuals or not? Then okay, we will replace it with dictatorship. Do you think that dictatorship will give that? No. We can see the case of country where dictatorship exists. Okay, I don't want to name it. So take the case of dignity of women in India, how it has been evolving. We know the time when women were not allowed to even come out of the home, and we know the time where women are just skyrocketing in their careers, etc. So how this has become possible? Because we have a democratic system. Okay, take the case of caste inequalities which existed some around 18th century in India, and now where caste inequalities or following of that caste system has reduced drastically just because of increase in literacy. Okay, and this is only possible because we have followed what? Democratic system. My dear students, I know that, like, talking about this chapter, consider this as a very interesting and a chapter that will give you marks easily, because this is something very realistic from our surrounding, where we just don't need to just mug up. Rectification we don't need to do in this chapter. We need to understand and use the keywords, write it over here. Keywords again are provided in this PDF. You just need to join that WhatsApp channel, you will get everything. Okay, I just want to conclude the chapter with a statement, right? You are living in democracy, right? You have the right to revolt against any government law. You have the right to protest against the government. If you don't like that law, you will demand the government to change it. Okay, if you don't like the government, you can change it after 5 years. Why it is possible? Because there is democracy. Will that be possible in dictatorship form of government? Not at all. In military form of government? Not at all. And monarchy as well. Because democracy is a system which passes one test and it produces another test. Again and again, this government faced the test given by the people, the challenges given by the people, and solve it. This itself make democracy what a different form of government. My dear students here, like, I know that, right? In reality, I am again repeating the statement that democracy is very ideal in definition, okay, in what we can say in books. However, when we talk about practice, it is quite different. Right? I also know what are the loopholes and ill things in the democracy, but if we are comparing it with other form of government, yes, it is better form of government. At least we can question in the democratic government. Okay, and this was the chapter all about. Again, I'm repeating the important topics of this chapter. First question, right? How do we assess democracy? Second question, how democracy is accountable, responsive, and legitimate? Third question, what is economic growth and development in democracy? Fourth question, how democracy is successful in reducing economic inequalities, and what if not? Okay, how democracy accommodates social diversity, and how democracy helps to increase or to support the dignity and freedom of individual. That's it, my dear students. Just do this, and I know you are going to rock in your class 10th exam. For any such help, you just need to comment down. We will be there, because Deeksha Vedantu is providing you rapid revisions of all the chapters. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. I just need one thing from your side now, to subscribe the YouTube channel, because you are going to get all the crazy lectures here. Thank you for being the part of Deeksha Vedantu.